You're listening to 100.1 FM, The Remnant, the radio for your life. This is your boy, Boss Hog. We are in the studios. This is uncut, unedited. They left me unattended. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to get real. It's the Warrior Brothers. I'm on the line with A Gunner here. We got Preacher coming later on in the show. But when we were off the air listening to some of this music, my brother Eric with a K found something spectacular, and I just said, we got to get it to the people because we got to share this. Go ahead, brother. Take it away.
Yeah, so, one of the things that I love in Scripture, it talks about temptation. There's no temptation that's not common to man. So anything that we get tempted with, there are other people that are struggling with the same temptation. And I think that the principle of that Scripture applies with what's going on in our worlds. Anxiety, stress, worry, doubt, fear, all of that stuff, it's not uncommon because people around the world are dealing with that. So we're all in this pandemic together.
We're all in it together.
Now, there are definitely very different opinions on what we should be doing right now. That's not what this show is about.
Right.
We're not here to take a side on whether we should be reopening or not reopening. That just causes division. Mm-hmm. Conversation causes division, just like talking about politics. We're not going to talk about politics here. But I read this article that apparently the author is anonymous. I have not fact-checked any of this. This is just history. It's posted on Village News. And most of it I recognize as truth.
Right.
Again, it's just history, so it's not not necessarily a lot of fact-checking that needs to happen here. But for us to understand, when Scripture says this too shall pass, we have to have context with that and everything too. We don't want to just pull out verses out of the Bible and say, "Oh, here's a little saying I want to encourage you with."
Right.
But even though I believe our world is going to look different when we reopen everything, our future looks different.
Right.
Even going back to church, when the churches reopen, it's going to look different.
Right.
So, but perspective, I think, helps us on situations. There have been times when I thought, man, I am going through something really difficult in my life, and I heard someone's story. I went to Kenya in West Africa, 18, 19 years ago, something like that. And I went there, I spoke at a couple schools. I went with a team. We did some skits and helped to lead worship. But we went with a World Vision artist, and we got to see. We went to a hospital that was. We literally took a bus through fields. There was no road. It wasn't even like a gravel road or a dirt road. It was through a field, bro.
Wow.
To get to this hospital in the middle of the bush. And hearing the stories from some of these people gave me such incredible perspective on my own life and the things that I was struggling with. When I went to go visit an orphanage, I saw those kids and the joy that they had. It gave me perspective on my own life. Like, why am I complaining that I don't have air conditioning? Or that it's 2 rooms? We adopted 2 kids from Ethiopia. Perspective, living in Ethiopia for 2 months with terrible internet and the electricity going out every day, several times through the day,
rolling blackouts,
rain, and then sun coming out, hot burning. It was all perspective, right? So This article, I share that to say this article gives incredible perspective. I want to read it to you.
Okay, before you get started, I love the part where you said giving context to something. We read the Bible, we look into the Bible, we listen to the Word, and it talks about 700 BC, 730 AD, whatever. And we're just like, I just can't connect with that. So what you're about to read here is like, okay, here's a little something closer to home. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. All right, so it's titled Pandemic Perspective. It's a mess out there right now and hard to discern between what's real threat and what is just simple panic and hysteria. For a small amount of perspective at this moment, imagine you were born in the year 1900. Okay, so there's a few people still alive,
yes.
Very few people. But let's imagine you were born in the year 1900. On your 14th birthday, World War I starts and ends on your 18th birthday. 22 million people perish in that war. Later in the year, a Spanish flu epidemic hits the planet and runs until your 20th birthday. 50 million people die from it in those 2 years. Yes, 50 million. On your 29th birthday, the Great Depression begins. Unemployment hits 25% and the world GDP drops 27%. That runs until you are 33 years old. The country nearly collapses along with the world economy. When you turn 39, World War II starts. You aren't even over the hill yet. And don't try to catch your breath, because on your 41st birthday, the United States is fully pulled into World War II. Between your 39th and 45th birthday, 75 million people perish in the war. Smallpox was epidemic until you were in your 40s, as it killed 300 million people during your lifetime. At 50, the Korean War starts. 5 million people perish. From your birth until you are 55, you dealt with fear of polio epidemics each summer. You experience friends and family contracting polio, being paralyzed and or dying. At 55, the Vietnam War begins and doesn't end for 20 years. 4 million people perish in that conflict. During the Cold War, you lived each day with a fear of nuclear annihilation. On your 62nd birthday, you have the Cuban Missile Crisis, a tipping point in the Cold War. Life on our planet as we know it almost ended. When you turn 75, the Vietnam War finally ends. Think of everyone on the planet born in the year 1900. How did they endure all that? When you were a kid in 1985, you didn't think your 85-year-old grandparents understood how hard school was and how mean that kid in your class was, yet they, the grandparents, survived all that, all the things listed above. Perspective is an amazing art, refined and enlightened as time goes on. Let's try and keep things in perspective. Your parents and or your grandparents were called to endure all of the above. You are being called to stay home for a little longer. Stay well, my friends.
Wow.
When I read that, I was blown away.
Absolutely.
It is in no means, way, or fashion meant to minimize what we're going through.
Right.
But it does give us incredible perspective. Because here's the thing. My son was playing football his sophomore year. And he had broken something in 8th grade playing football. He had broken something in his freshman year playing football. You'd think he'd learn. But he's a beast, and he went back. Sophomore year, we drive out to Ukaipa for the second game of the season. He was playing for Palm Desert High School, playing on the varsity team. Second game, Ukaipa, we play. He makes a great tackle. As he makes this tackle, takes this guy down, he's hit from behind. And he goes down, and he doesn't get back up. He had to have two trainers and coach carry him off the field, and they knew something broke. And I'm feeling so upset for my son.
Right.
And I'm like, Carson, I'm so sorry. I know this is just killing you. He goes, Papa, I think maybe God wants to teach me something. And I'm like, what?
Come on, brother. What?
How is my 15, 16-year-old son dropping crazy wisdom on me in this moment? It happened to him, not me.
Right? He's in pain.
It was perspective, bro. What does God want to teach us in this season? That's something I keep asking God. What do you want to teach? Mm-hmm. So when my daughter said, you know what? I'm so thankful that we are stuck in 2 rooms because God is bringing us closer. God wants to teach right now. What does he want to teach you? That's the question I have for you today.
Absolutely. I love it, brother. And, you know, what you said was right on point. We have to just look at perspective. We can get caught up in the negative, everything around us, all the negativity, the politics, everything that's going on, the crisis, the businesses that are being affected, the jobs that are being lost. Our unemployment rate is going through the roof. It seems like every day millions and millions of people are being affected. But to know that in that story, that gives us a little bit of light, that we've been there before. We have gone through this as a country, and we've seen the darkest of dark days. But you know we are seeing also an opportunity that we might have taken for granted if it had not been for this pandemic. An opportunity to just open our eyes, open our hearts, open our ears. What is God trying to show us during this time? What is God trying to teach us during this time? What is God trying to change in us during this time? And it's, as long as we put God first in all things, He has provided before, and He will provide continuously throughout this entire pandemic and through our entire lives. He has never let us down, not once. And I love it. That was an amazing article. You heard it here from my man, A Gunner, Eric with a K, executive pastor at a church, big, also known as Sunrise Church in Rialto. Man, doing big things up there. I love you, brother, with all my heart. Let's keep it going here with a little bit of music. Man, just a powerful message. I love it. Let's keep it going here. Warrior Brothers on 100.1 FM, The Remnant, the radio for your life.